In the vast desert where the sun burned fiercely and silence spread like sorrow, there was written a story unlike any other, a story not written with ink but with sacrifice and the blood of the innocent. It was the story of courage, of truth, of faith that stood tall against injustice. It was the story of Imam Hussain, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the tragedy of Karbala that forever changed the soul of humanity. When Yazid, the son of Muawiyah, rose to power, he demanded allegiance from every Muslim. His rule was not based on justice or the teachings of Islam but on power and fear. When the order came to Imam Hussain to pledge loyalty, he refused. For Hussain, to bow before falsehood was to betray the truth for which his grandfather had lived and died. He knew what refusal meant. It meant persecution, exile, and possibly death. But he also knew that silence in the face of injustice is itself a crime. And so, with the calmness of a man whose faith could not be shaken, he said, "A man like me cannot give allegiance to a man like Yazid." From that moment, his destiny was sealed. The city of Medina, once peaceful and holy, became unsafe for him and his family. Hussain left Medina with heavy heart, traveling to Mecca, the sacred sanctuary, hoping to awaken the sleeping conscience of the Muslim world. There, beneath the shadow of the Kaaba, letters began to arrive from the city of Kufa. The people wrote to him, saying, "O son of the Prophet, we have no leader but you. Come to us and we shall pledge allegiance to you." Hussain listened, but he did not rush. He sent his cousin, Muslim Ibn Aqil, to see if their promise was sincere. Muslim arrived in Kufa and was welcomed with love and devotion. But soon fear spread. The tyrant's governor, Ibn Ziyad, used force, money, and threats to turn the people away. Those who once promised loyalty hid in their homes. Muslim was betrayed, captured, and killed brutally. When news of his cousin's death reached Hussain, the pain in his heart was deep. Yet his purpose did not change. He looked to the heavens and whispered, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, to God we belong and to him we return." He knew the path before him was not one of victory in this world, but of truth eternal. And so, he set out from Mecca, along with his family, his sons, his brothers, his sisters, and his young children. People tried to stop him. "Do not go," they pleaded, "the people of Kufa have betrayed you." But he answered with calm strength, "I am not rising for rebellion or for power. I rise only to reform the nation of my grandfather, to enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong." As he journeyed through the endless sands, he met men who blocked his path, soldiers who carried the orders of Yazid. They surrounded him near the plains of Karbala, a lonely land beside the river Euphrates. There, Hussain and his 72 companions camped, surrounded by thousands of enemy soldiers. The army of Yazid cut off their access to water. The burning desert became a test of faith and patience. The children cried from thirst. Their lips cracked, and their small voices pleaded, "Uncle, water." But Hussain, though his heart shattered with grief, remained strong. He looked upon the tents, upon his family, upon the faces of those who stood by him, and said, "Be patient. God is with us." The night before the battle, known as the night of Ashura, Hussain gathered his companions. The stars above seemed to listen as he said softly, "Tomorrow death awaits us. I release you from your oaths. You may leave and save your lives." But one by one, they rose to speak. "By God," they said, "if we were to die and live again 1,000 times, we would never abandon you." The tears in Hussain's eyes shone. Like the moonlight, he raised his hands in prayer and thanked God for granting him such loyal companions. When the sun rose on the 10th of Muharram, the desert of Karbala trembled. The silence of dawn was soon broken by the sound of swords, cries, and the clash of armies. Hussain's companions went to the battlefield one after another, fighting bravely, knowing well that death awaited them. Abbas, the brother of Hussain, the flag-bearer of the camp, fought with unmatched courage. He reached the river, filled his hands with water, and looked at it. Though dying of thirst, he remembered the cries of the children and turned away from drinking. As he tried to carry the water back, arrows struck him. His arms were severed, yet he pressed on. A final arrow pierced the water bag, spilling it into the sand. He fell, whispering, "My master Hussain, forgive me, I could not bring them water." Then came the turn of young Ali Akbar, Hussain's son, whose face resembled that of the Prophet Muhammad. When he went to the battlefield, Hussain looked toward the sky and said, "O Lord, be witness to what they are doing to the grandson of your prophet." Ali Akbar fought bravely but fell under the rain of swords. Hussain rushed to him, cradling his lifeless body, whispering words only a father could speak. In the midst of the battle, Hussain raised his infant son, Ali Ashgar, and walked toward the enemy. The child's lips were dry, his eyes half closed. "If I am your enemy," Hussain said, "what is the sin of this child? Give him a drop of water." But cruelty had no limits. An archer named Harmala took aim and fired an arrow that pierced the baby's throat. Hussain caught the tiny body in his hands. His tears fell upon the small face. He looked to the heavens and said, "O Lord, accept this sacrifice." Now, only Hussain remained. Wounded, thirsty, yet unbroken. He mounted his horse, his body covered in dust and blood. He looked around, his camp silent, his companions gone, the tent still. He rode forward, facing thousands. He fought with the strength of faith, each strike of his sword a cry for justice. But the enemies surrounded him, striking from every side. Arrows pierced his body, swords tore through his flesh, yet his lips whispered prayers. He fell to the ground. As he lay there, weak but not defeated, he raised his face toward the sky and said, "O Allah, accept this from Hussain." Then, as the sword of Shimar struck his neck, the world seemed to stop. The sky turned dark, the wind howled, and the sands of Karbala were drenched in holy blood. After his martyrdom, the enemy looted the tents, took the women and children as captives. Among them was Zainab, the sister of Hussain. In the court of Yazid, she stood tall, her voice steady. She looked at the tyrant and said, "You think you have won, Yazid? You have killed our men, but you cannot kill our message. By God, your victory is nothing but shame." Her courage silenced the court. And so, the story of Karbala became eternal. The blood of Hussain became the ink of freedom. His sacrifice became a light that guides generations. From that day until today, when people remember Karbala, they weep not only for his pain, but for the truth he stood for. For every oppressed soul that refuses to bow, Hussain's name is a banner of hope. His message whispers through time, "I did not rise for power or for glory. I rose to revive truth and resist oppression." And in every heart that still beats for justice, in every tear shed for truth, Hussain lives. For the swords that struck him only freed his spirit, and his martyrdom turned defeat into eternal victory. The desert of Karbala still speaks. It tells the world that faith is not measured by life or death, but by standing for what is right, no matter the cost. Hussain's stand was not the end of his story, it was the beginning of a truth that will never die.